I'm going to get a little bit of a drink.
Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. My name is Muhammad Anan, and I am foundation level student at Rehan School, Islamabad, Bargo campus. So, viewers, today I am going to talk with Maya on the simple topic of wow. So, Maya, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. So, my first question is, what does the word wow mean?
It's an exclamation of surprise or wonder. It's basically the universal sound we make when something catches us off guard or just blows our mind.
All right, now thank you. So, my next question is, where did the expression wow originate?
It's a bit of a mystery. Most linguists think it just evolved.
All right, thank you. So, my next question is, why do people say wow when surprised?
It's an instinctive reaction. It's almost like our brain's way of processing a sudden shock, or it's basically a shortcut for the brain. Instead of using a full sentence to explain we're shocked, we just let out a wow, and everyone knows exactly where we're at.
All right, Matt, thank you. So, my next question is, how old is the expression wow?
Let me check.
All right,
It actually dates back to the early 1500s. It started in Scottish English and was first written down in 1513, though it didn't become the global go-to for astonishment until much later, around the late 1800s.
all right, Matt, thank you. So, my next question is, what emotions can wow express?
It's surprisingly versatile. While we usually think of it as pure amazement, it can also convey disbelief, irony, or even a bit of shock if something is actually kind of bad. It all depends on the tone.
All right, Matt, thank you. So, my next question is, how has the meaning of wow changed over time?
Actually, it shifted from being a general emotional reaction to a more specific one. Back in the early days, it could mean a few different things, including aversion or dislike. But over time, it settled into that feeling of astonishment and admiration we use today.
All right, Matt. So, my next question is, why is wow considered an emotional expression?
Because it's an interjection, it's not a planned sentence, but a raw, immediate reaction to something we feel. It's the sound of an emotion happening in real time.
All right, Matt, thank you. So, my next question is, how do different cultures express surprise?
It varies a lot. Some cultures have specific words that sound like a wow, while others use a combination of facial expressions or a sharp intake of breath to show they're amazed.
All right, Matt, thank you. So, my next question is, what are alternatives to saying wow?
There are a ton. You've got things like amazing, incredible, or unreal if you're feeling a bit more descriptive. And then you have the more casual ones like no way or holy cow.
All right, Matt, thank you. So, my next question is, how does tone affect the meaning of wow?
It's everything. A long, drawn out wow usually means you're genuinely impressed, while a short, clipped one can sound.
All right, Matt, thank you. So, my next question is, can wow express both positive and negative emotions?
Absolutely. It can. A genuine wow shows you're blown away by something great, but a flat wow can be a way of saying, I can't believe you just did that when something's a disaster.
All right, Matt, thank you. So, my next question is, why do children often use the word wow?
It's the perfect word for them. Everything is new and exciting when you're a kid, so they're constantly encountering things that actually feel like a wow moment. Plus, it's a simple, punchy sound that's easy to say and get a big reaction from.
All right, Matt. So, my next question is, why do children often use the word wow?
You actually just asked that one. It's because
All
the
right.
world is just
All
one.
right, Maya. So my
I'm
next
still
question
here.
is, how does body language strengthen expressions of surprise?
It's like the exclamation point to the word. Wide eyes, a drop jaw, or even stepping back a bit. Those physical cues tell the other person exactly how intense the surprise is before you even finish saying the word.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, what role does facial expression play when saying "Wow"?
It's the visual part of the story. Raised eyebrows and wide eyes act as a signal that something unexpected just happened. It's basically how we communicate shock without needing a single word.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, why do humans naturally react to surprise?
It's a survival instinct, really. Our brains are wired. I'm sorry, I missed that. Did you want to change the topic? No
Yes.
worries.
My
I'm
next
just following
question
your
is,
lead.
what
Let's.
is the psychology behind surprise expressions?
It's all about how our brain handles the unexpected. When we're surprised, our brain's amygdala kicks in, triggering an immediate emotional response before we even have time to think. That's why wow comes out before you've even processed what's actually happening.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, how do surprise words improve communication?
They add a layer of emotional honesty. It lets the other person know you're actually feeling something in the moment, which makes the conversation feel more genuine and connected rather than just an exchange of information.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, why is wow so common in conversations?
Because it's such an easy way to acknowledge something. It fills the gap when you don't have a full sentence ready, but you still want to show you're paying attention and are genuinely impressed.
All right, Maya. So my next
I'm
question
still
is, how has media influenced the popularity of wow?
It's turned it into a global shorthand. Movies and TV shows use it to signal a big reveal or a shocking twist. And because we see it so much, it's become the universal way to react to something mind blowing, regardless of where you're from.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, why is wow so common in conversations?
You're on a roll. I've got plenty of time. No rush at all.
All right, Maya. My next question is, what role does wow play in storytelling?
It's basically a signal to the. I'm following you. I'm glad you are.
So, Maya,
Sorry, I
thank
didn't
you.
quite catch that.
My next question is, how do movies use expressions of surprise?
They use it to build tension. Think of that moment right before a big reveal where the music stops and someone lets out a gasp or a wow. It anchors the audience's emotion and tells them exactly how they should be feeling about the twist.
All right, Maya, thank you. So, my next question is, why do comedians use exaggerated surprise reactions?
It's all about the timing. Comedy thrives on contrast. By overreacting, they amplify the absurdity of the situation, making the punchline land harder because the reaction is so much bigger than it needs to be.
All right, Maya. So, my next question is, how does wow create excitement in speech?
It's like a spark in the conversation. It breaks the flat rhythm of normal talking and signals that something special just happened, which immediately makes the other person lean in and pay more attention.
All right, Maya, thank you. So, my next question is, what are some famous wow moments in history?
Let me look into that. There are so many archaeological finds like the Rosetta Stone or the Terracotta Army are huge wow moments because they literally rewrite what we know about the past. Then you have the big world shapers like the invention of the printing press, which completely changed how humans share ideas.
All right, Matt. Thank you. So my next question is, how do social media users express surprise online?
They've basically invented a whole new language for it. Between all caps, a string of shocked emojis, and those reaction gifs, they can convey a level of surprise that a simple wow just can't reach in text.
All right, Matt. Thank you. So my next question is, what emojis are commonly used with wow?
The classics are the go to. You've got the wide eyed face, the open mouth gasp, and occasionally the sparkling stars to show it's a positive kind of surprise.
All right, Matt. My next question is, how has texting changed expressions of surprise?
It's stripped away the tone. Since you can't hear a voice, people use punctuation and capitalization to do the heavy lifting. A wow is very different from a wow with five exclamation points.
All right, Matt. So my next question is, why do people type wow with extra letters?
It's all about the intensity. Adding those extra letters is like adding volume to your voice in a text. Oh, wow, tells the other person that you're not just surprised, you're genuinely floored.
All right, Matt. So my next question is, how does surprise affect human memory?
It actually makes things stick better. When something surprises us, our brain releases dopamine, which basically flags that moment as important. And that's why you remember the wow moments of your life way more clearly than the boring stuff in between.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, what is the connection between curiosity and surprise?
Hmm. They're basically two sides of the same coin. Curiosity is the itch that makes us look for something, and surprise is the payoff when we actually find something we weren't expecting. One drives us to explore, and the other rewards us for it.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, how do surprise expressions vary across languages?
It's a huge spectrum. Some languages have a single word that does everything, while others have an entire set of different words depending on if the surprise is good, bad, or just totally bizarre.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, what is the Urdu equivalent of wow?
In Urdu, you'd likely use wah. It's that classic expression of admiration or surprise that fits perfectly in the same way wow does. Sometimes people might also say, subhanallah, if the surprise is something beautiful or awe inspiring.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how do greetings and surprise expressions differ?
One's about opening a door, and the other's about what you find when you walk through it. Greetings are predictable and social, they're the expected start to a conversation. Surprise expressions are raw and spontaneous, they happen when the script gets flipped.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, why do advertisements try to create a wow factor?
Because they're fighting for your attention. In a world where we're constantly scrolling, a wow moment is the only thing that actually makes us stop. It's about creating an emotional hook that makes the product feel exciting or revolutionary rather than just another thing you can buy.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, what is mean by the phrase wow factor?
Uh, I think you might mean wow again, since we've
Yes,
been diving
yes.
deep into that. Or are you asking about a literal valve, like in a pipe or an engine? Which one is it?
So my next question is, how do businesses use wow experiences to attract customers?
They aim for that surprise and delight factor. By exceeding expectations, like a free upgrade or an unexpected gift, they turn a regular transaction into a memory. It makes the customer feel special. And that's the kind of thing people actually go home and tell their friends about.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, what role does a surprise play in entertainment?
It's the engine that drives it. Surprise is what keeps us engaged. Whether it's a plot twist in a movie or a magic trick, we're naturally drawn to the unexpected because it creates a rush of excitement and keeps us from getting bored.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how do magicians create wow moments?
It's all about misdirection. They lead your eyes one way while their hands are lo- doing the real work somewhere else. By the time you realize what happened, the wow is already hit because your brain can't fill in the gap between the trick and the result.
Why do people enjoy unexpected experiences?
It's a bit of a it's like a little hit of adrenaline. Our brains love the novelty. When something unexpected,
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how does music create emotional surprise?
it's all in the tension and release. By throwing in an unexpected chord change or a sudden shift in volume, music can physically surprise you, triggering an emotional peak that feels way more powerful than a steady beat.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, what role does surprise play in learning?
It's actually a huge catalyst for growth. When you're surprised, your brain wakes up. It's called the prediction error. Your brain expects one thing, gets another, and that gap is where the most intense learning happens because you're forced to update your understanding of the world.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, can surprise improve creativity?
Definitely. It forces you to look at things from a different angle. When you're surprised, the usual patterns in your head get disrupted, which opens the door for new, unexpected connections and ideas to emerge.
All right, my next question is, what role does surprise play in learning?
You're really testing my memory today. We actually just touched on this. It's that prediction error where your brain wakes up and updates its understanding of the world because things didn't go as expected.
All right, my next question is, why are humans attracted to amazing discoveries?
It's our innate drive to explore. We're wired to seek out the unknown and solve mysteries. When we stumble upon an amazing discovery, it's the ultimate payoff. A mix of curiosity being satisfied and that rush of adrenaline from finding something that changes the way we see the world.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how do scientists react to surprising discoveries?
It starts with that initial shock, but the best way to react is usually with curiosity. Instead of just being stunned, asking, how did this happen? Or what does this mean? Is what turns a surprise into actual knowledge. It's the difference between just seeing something cool and actually understanding it.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, what are examples of surprising inventions in history?
Let me think for a second. There are some great ones that were actually total accidents. Penicillin is a huge one. It happened because some mold grew in a petri dish. Then you have the microwave, which came from a chocolate bar melting in a scientist's pocket while he was working on radar tech. Even post-it notes started as a failed adhesive that wasn't strong enough to be permanent.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how do sports commentators use expressions like "wow"?
They use it to amplify the drama. It's all about creating a peak in the energy of the game. When they shout something like unbelievable or wow, it tells the audience just happened is a once in a lifetime moment. It turns a simple play into a piece of history.
All right, Maya. So my
I'm
next
still with
question is, why are surprise reactions important in live events?
They feed off each other. In a live setting, seeing or hearing someone else's genuine surprise creates a contagious energy. It signals to everyone else in the crowd that this is a moment they can't afford to miss, which turns a simple event into a shared emotional experience.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how does surprise affect decision making?
It definitely throws a wrench in the gears. When we're hit with a total surprise, our brain's executive function basically pauses while the emotional center takes over. It usually leads to a freeze response or a snap judgment because we're reacting to the shock rather than thinking through the options.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, what role does surprise play in relationships?
It keeps things from getting stale. Whether it's a surprise trip or just a small unexpected gesture, it shows the other person you're thinking about them. It injects a bit of excitement into the routine and reminds both people why they're attracted to each other in the first place.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how can positive surprises strengthen friendships?
They build the sense of being seen. When a friend does something unexpected just because they know you'll love it, it proves they've been paying attention. That kind of effort creates a deep level of trust and emotional security that a regular planned hangout just doesn't hit the same way.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, why do people love surprise gifts?
It's the thrill of the unknown. It's not just about the object inside the box, but the anticipation and the fact that someone spent time thinking about you. That emotional hit of surprise combined with the feeling of being cared for is what makes it so special.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, how do surprise parties create excitement?
It's the collective buildup. Everyone is in on the secret, except one person, which creates this huge amount of shared tension. When the surprise finally happens, that tension snaps and turns into an explosion of energy that makes the moment feel way more intense for everyone involved.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how do surprise parties create excitement?
Oh, you're really keeping me on my toes today.
All right,
Like we
all
just
right.
said,
My next
I'm
question
still
is,
here.
what is the connection between wonder and surprise?
They're like cousins. Surprise is the sudden shock of the unexpected, but wonder is what happens when that surprise lingers. It's that feeling of being completely captivated by something that's not just shocking, but deeply meaningful or beautiful.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how does amazement inspire people?
It pushes us to explore. When you're truly amazed by something, it sparks a desire to understand how it works or where it came from. It's that feeling of, I didn't know this was possible, which is exactly what leads people to invent things, write books, or spend their whole lives studying the stars.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, why do travel experiences often create wow moments?
Hmm, because you're stepping out of your bubble. Everything is different, from the smells and the sounds to the way people interact. When your brain can't rely on its usual autopilot, every little discovery feels like a wow moment because it's a genuine encounter with the unknown.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, how do natural wonders leave people speechless?
To total sensory overload. When you're standing in front of something like the Grand Canyon or a massive waterfall, the scale is just so overwhelming that your brain can't find words to match the feeling. It's that rare moment where the experience is just too big for language to handle.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how do painters and designers create visual impact?
They use contrast and focus. By playing with bold colors or leaving a lot of empty space, they can direct your eye exactly where they want it to go. It's basically a visual way of creating a wow moment by surprising your brain with something it didn't expect to see.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, how does suspense build surprise?
It's all about the gap between expectation and reality. Suspense is like stretching a rubber band. It builds up this intense pressure as you wait for something to happen. The longer that tension lasts, the more powerful the snap is when the surprise finally hits.
All right, Maya. Thank you for giving me this information in detail. See you soon. Take care.
You're so welcome. It was a blast diving into all that with you. Take care and see you soon.
So, viewers, this was my AA session with Maya. We will meet. I hope you like it. We will meet again in the next video. Until then, Allah Hafiz, Pakistan Zindabad.